Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari. Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tiravanatari. Jamuna Tiravanatari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tiravanatari. Tiravanatari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Boom! Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pri Vijakacharya Siddhashishan. His Divine Grace Abhai Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Kodavaishya Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Hridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Goho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadada Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Say Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mathura Dham Ki. Dwarka Dham Ki. Navadip Dham Ki. Jagannath-puri Dham Ki. Jamuna Maya Ki. Ganga Maya Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Sambhira Bhakti Vinda Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Say Siddhara Giridhari Ki. Shri Krishna Sankirtana Yoga Ki. Go Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the divine lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dhammaganadi Bisaha Kalandasa Dashomesha Parano Konado Data Narayana Namaskritchandaram Chaivam Narottama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. Bhagavatam is his brand as his son. It is he risen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision to the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our main means of conquest, we should first offer our respects to the person of Godhead Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of learning Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. So we are on the 5th canto, chapter 2, text 17, 1-7, and we are minus Dravida. So I think rather than, Sri Sukha Uvacha, we're going to go right into the word for word. So you guys have it there on your screens. Sri Sukha Uvacha. Shukadev Goswami said, Iti, thus, Lalana, women, Anunaya, in winning over. Prabhupada said everything's in the Bhagavatam. Here, actually, the Bhagavatam is explaining how a man can seduce a woman. Everything's in the Bhagavatam. Romance, adventure, military science, how to eat. Everything's in the Bhagavatam. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, and don't get me wrong, we're not about book burning, but if every book in the world were lost, Bhagavatam remained, nothing in the field of knowledge would be lost. It's profound. Okay, so where were we? Ati Vishvarara, very expert. Gramya Vaidagdhyaya, expert in fulfilling one's material desires. Paribhashaya, by selected words. Tam, her. Vibhuravadum, the celestial girl. Vibhuramati, Agnidra, who possessed intelligence like that of the demigods. Arisabha Sabjayam asa. Gain the favor of. Translation. Sukadev Goswami continued, Maharaj Agnidra, whose intelligence was like that of a demigod, knew the art of flattering women to win them to his side. Therefore he pleased that celestial girl with his lusty words and gained her favor. So here we go. Sukadev Goswami continued, Maharaj Agnidra, whose intelligence was like that of a demigod, knew the art of flattering women to win them to his side. He therefore pleased that celestial girl with his lusty words and gained her favor. Purport. Since King Agnidra was a devotee, he actually had no attraction for material enjoyment. But because he wanted a wife for progeny, and Lord Brahma had sent Purvachiti for that purpose, he expertly pleased her with flattering words. Women are attracted by a man's flattering words. One who is expert in this art of flattery is called Vidagda. Om Agena Tamarandasya Gyanagena Salakaya Jakshu Shrimadatangena Tasmade Shri Gurave Namaha. So about this expert at flattery, one of Krishna's names is Vidagda Madhava, and that he's the husband of the goddess of fortune who's expert at very witty and cunning words that Krishna can completely bewilder with his transcendental jugglery of words. And there's many examples of nectar devotion. Radharani asks, where are you staying? There's 3 different ways you can explain the word, residence or staying. So he says, oh, my residence is in your eyes, which is pretty charming. Then she says, no, I mean this. He said, oh, and he takes another meaning of, he says, oh, I've assumed this fragrance just so I can be near your body. Perfume's worn on the body, and it pervades. So many ways it goes on and on like that, and Radharani becomes completely bewildered. So he's very expert at flattery, and Krishna's expert at everything. He's the original. Can anyone think of another? Well, just to save time, because I do want to get to something else. There was a particular person, causing disturbance in the world, and Krishna did something with charming words that solved the problem. Can anyone think of it? And the person's name starts with a V. Brikasura. Krishna told him, this Lord Shiva, he hangs out with ghosts and crazy people, and he's always, you don't know if that benediction, because he was given the benediction, and his head he would touch would crack in half. First off, he addressed him by his family name. Then he said, oh, you must be tired. Family name means, oh, you know my family. You must, you're a friend of my father. Oh, okay, you're probably my well-wisher. And then Krishna says, and look at you, you're tired, you're chasing so hard. Why? And how do you know that benediction even works? It's from that crazy Lord Shiva. Before you invest any more energy, what should he do? Test it out. Touch your own head. So the Brikasura says, oh, okay. And his head cracked in half, and that was the end. So, there's so many examples of Krishna by flattery, charming and bewildering. So he's the expert. But I was thinking in this regard that first off, Purvachiti had her chance with her nice form. I don't want to go into it because I'm a sannyasi and you're all brahmacharis, but we've read the earlier chapters, of the early verses. So he's completely, nice little ankle bells. He's completely charmed by her, right? Now it's his turn. And he uses his particular, the male Shakti. He offers his nice flattering words. And she's completely bewildered. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, everyone's cheating everyone. Everyone's trying to flatter everyone for a reason. I remember my father when television, colored TV, first came in. So I asked my father, I said, and there's cartoons and Disneyland or whatever it was, and I said, man, this thing is great. Why are they doing this for free? So was it for free? Why? What comes along with that? Yeah, hey, I'm not paying for the channel. You got it, my friend. It comes with when contemplation attachment develops. So they just fill up your head. The living entity's thinking, I'm fine. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't have the latest whiz-bang, or a little kid. You don't have the, whatever it is, So it doesn't come free. So everyone's, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say what about this world? So many things, but just to make it easy. He used to say it is cheaters and cheated. So everybody's flattering everybody. Everyone's trying to, this or that. Prabhupada says the businessman, the grocer says, for you I make no profit. Of course he's making a profit. How can he function if he's not making a profit? Oh, a special price for you. Yeah, they probably raised it. They saw you were a sucker. So we should be intelligent. This world, just like here, I was describing about Vidagdha Madhava Krishna, and Radharani has her own set of sweet words, So that which is the highest in the spiritual world is a perverted reflection, like prema becomes lust. So this sweet words, what is it in the Krishna Loka? Every step is a dance, every word is a song. So they're sweet words that are encouraging austerity in the mode of goodness, speech in the mode of goodness, that is truthful according to the Vedas, doesn't offend, full of knowledge. So that perversion is what we've got now, and everyone's trying to cheat everybody else. Everyone's got an angle, got a motive. So we should be. There's the story of Ulysses. You know the word siren? Siren? Wah, wah. You know where it comes from? It comes exactly so. It comes from Greek mythology, comes from the Odyssey, and Ulysses, I think it's on his way back to wherever he was on his way back to. And it's a few difficulties along the way. So there was an island called the Island of the Sirens, and a beautiful women who sang sweetly, so sweetly that the sailors become intoxicated, completely forget it. Now, what was the problem with, you see these beautiful women, come and enjoy. There's that one Prabhupada, here's the ice cream truck in New Dwarka. You can hear it in the middle of the lecture, ding, 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 Prabhupada says, what is this? And they said, oh, Prabhupada, it's the ice cream truck. And Prabhupada says, and you're purchasing? So, but then Prabhupada says, what is the song? What is the ice cream truck singing? Anyone know? Come and enjoy, come and enjoy. So it's like, all the little kids run out with their money they stole out of their mother's purse and off there to get their, whatever their, snick snack is. It's completely off the track. But I remember the first time, I think it was the first time I got a popsicle. And my brother paid for it, root beer popsicle. And I took, 1 lick, 2 licks, 3 licks, and the 4th lick it had melted and poof, landed on the ground. I thought, well, there it is. And it's been downhill ever since as far as material enjoyment. It doesn't live up to its expectations. So the point is that we should be intelligent. The sailors, what was the problem with that island? Come and enjoy, beautiful women. It was surrounded by rocks. And there were the bones of sailors and wrecked ships. But they completely disregarded that. They didn't even see it when they were intoxicated. The very nature of toxic is you forget your actual situation. Forget your... So we'll get back to that in a second. But the intelligent thing is to see down the road all the flattery and all the praise and all the intoxication and, what's behind it? What is it behind the universal form, behind the sweet smile of the material nature? What, anyone know, according to Vishwarup, the universal form, what's behind the sweet smile of the material nature? What's behind your lips? teeth. So it says, behind the sweet smile of the material nature, the jaws of death. So, you know, sweet smile, but hey, you know, what's it all about? I wanted to read, and we'll do it now. I also want to read from Vrindavan Bhajan, that poem by Prabhupada. And Prabhupada talks about the mind's bananas, bewildered by the mind's bananas. And I was thinking of, there's that, what is that? Is it not A Christmas Carol's by Dickens? But anyway, that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and the kids are with visions of sugar plums dancing in their heads. So we all have the mind's bananas. We're all dancing in our heads how we're going to enjoy and how we want this and how pleased by that. So here's some of the flattery that the material nature offers that entangles the living entity so that living entity becomes cheated. So I wanted to read from the 10th canto, from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16. This is divine and demoniac nature. And what is this saying? They say we found the enemy and the enemy is us. So the mind is the best of friends if it's in Krishna consciousness, and it's the worst of enemies. And here's the siren call, the flattery song that bewilders one's intelligence, rattling around in the mind. Flattery, generally speaking, means an inflated, you know, Prabhupada says the child is blind and the mother names him Lotus-eyed. Now that's out of love. But you know, what does Prabhupada say that on Sankirtan you should say to people, my dear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message, especially Haridas Thakur, that you're so intelligent, you're so sophisticated, you're so this and that. And then what's the next, at the end of all the flattery, what do you say? Now forget everything you've learned and just listen to this message. So you flatter, then they become, you know. So the flattery of the material nature. Here you have, it's inflated. It's an inflated, that was my point. It's an inflated picture of reality. Because we all want to believe it. So here it is, from the 16th chapter, Divine and Demonic Nature, 13 through 15. I just took a few lines. So much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. This is what, if we aren't, I mean, there are people who actually think they are, and those who know that they're not, but they're thinking, you know, I'll get it next time by my scheme. You know, they're lying on the couch. They're about to get, you know, evicted out of their house, and they're out buying lottery tickets. You know, my ship's going to come in. It's just, you know, it's just about Jarasandha. How many times did Jarasandha fight with Krishna? How many times, Amoga? 17 times. I mean, you would think, and each time he had to walk back alone, isn't it? I mean, everything was, the horses, everything was gone. He's walking back alone. And his friends flattered him by saying, no, don't worry. It was just bad luck. I mean, 17 times, you'd get the hint after a while. The 18th time, Krishna didn't even give him the time of day. Krishna just went because he was going to Dwarka Ranchor, you know, leaving the battlefield to save Rukmini. Didn't even give him the time of day. But this is the disease. This is the bewilderment, the intoxication due to the flattery of the mind that we think, well, you know, I'm going to get it somehow or other. And even every man's home is his castle. No. You go door to door Sankirtan, they open that door, it's like Neanderthal man. It's like a cave. Isn't it? The fumes that blow out, they got the movie going on, some, you know, car crash. They got the dog, you know, they got the wife. Hey, yeah, they get the, you know, jeez. You have to steel yourself when they open the door. It's Cro-Magnon. Where's the bones and feathers, you know? So, but they're thinking, oh, this is my castle. I got my lazy boy. So, I was listening to a tape yesterday, you know, Prabhupada, and it's a press conference in Delhi. And I forget the year, I think 75, but it's when they had the Bangladesh war, and they were concerned. And I think it actually, Calcutta did get bombed, but there was, I think they were, they were worried the Pakistanis were going to bomb Delhi. You can look at a map, it's not that big of a distance. So all of a sudden, the air raid sirens go off. I mean, they're interviewing Prabhupada. They were asking the usual questions, foolish questions. And Prabhupada's, patiently keeping them on track, trying to give them Krishna consciousness. Then the air raid siren goes off. And you hear them say, oh, shut the shutters, black out the door. They're completely freaked, all the reporters, You can imagine a gaggle of maybe 25 reporters, and they're all freaked. And then one of them says, oh, Swamiji, Swamiji, now we're seeing the ugly face of reality. Please give us some words. Prabhupada, not one to mince words, Prabhupada says, oh, and previously there was not the ugly face of reality? That this place is Martya Loka. There's death at it. Padam padam yad vipadam. There's danger at every step. Oh, now you're thinking there's danger because you might get a bomb dropped on your head. But what about the bowling ball that killed that guy in El Cajon? Flew out of the sky. People fall in manholes. I was saying the other day, die in the bathtub. Die making toast. And the guy doesn't think he's going to, this is it. This will be my last act. So, there's danger at every step in this world. But the living entity is bewildered, and we should be intelligent. What's the time? Because I did want to get to something else. That stone cold conviction that it's going to get better. People at my age, I'm 69. I crashed the other day. Remember, you had to fish me out of the bushes? Because I was picking flowers. He went to get Tulsi. I was picking flowers, and my balance is completely shot, and it's dark, and there's these bricks. So I crashed into a bush, You guys crash. You're going to get better, isn't it? Yeah, you bruise a couple, whatever, At my age, you don't get better. You just learn to compensate with it, Okay, well, that doesn't work. I'll lean this way and say I can't lean that way anymore, But the idea, like I was saying, they're 60 years old. I get things in the mail. It's quite ironic and hypocritical and thought-provoking. I get in the mail, I don't know what list I'm on, but on one hand, I get things for sexy singles, silver singles, dating club. Throw in the towel. It's over. Forget it. But and obviously there must be a business, Go online and, we had a guy we shaved up here one time. And I've mentioned it before, but I wish I could remember his name. But when I was shaving him up, he had scars all over his head. I said, what? It looked like his head got stuck in a Vegematic. I said, what happened? He said, oh, well, this is where my first wife hit me with a golf club. He said, this is where my second wife, and I'm not picking on women, the inverse is there for the men also. They take advantage of women. But the first was a golf club. Then he had, this is where she struck me with the iron, for ironing. And then the other one, he said, this is where she caught my head in the car door. I don't even know how you do that. Slammed his head in the car door, And here's the far out thing. The guy was with us for about a month, and he fell in love and eloped with some girl he met at the Sunday feast. And the devotees, okay, fine, you want to get married, a good wife is a fortress against material desire. She's Dharma Patni, one who brings Dharma, the better half. So many things, a nice wife, devotee wife. But, for this guy, everybody was like, no, don't do it again, So, but off he, I always wondered what happened to him. What new scar? We shave him up and see what this new, his chronicle of his marital life on his head. It made me think that marital and martial, you just move the I, over on the other side of the T. But, thus said the cruel sannyasi. How did we get off on that? So we're thinking it's going to get better. That plan didn't work. Well, I'll try this one. That plan didn't work. Well, I'm not happy in this job. I'll quit and get that job. And then we're thinking in the future, in the future, in the future. When is the future? The man kept saying to Prabhupada, sooner or later I'll surrender to Krishna. Prabhupada, better sooner. Do you know you have a later? When I'm an old man, let me enjoy now. When I'm an old man. What's Prabhupada's answer? What is the definition of old? Just before death. Anybody here, Prabhupada says, anyone got a certificate from Yamaraj? Anybody guaranteed you're not going to die? Prahlad Maharaj says old, and we may die at any minute, therefore everyone's old. So, what to do? Okay, now we've painted a bleak scene. Oh, here's another one. They say devotees are quitters. Yes. Well, at least you got 3 square meals and a roof over your head. You know, you jumped out of the game, quitters. You know. Do they say that? They used to say it a lot. I think now the material world is such a grind. You know, you can't even get married till you're 35 because you're saving money. And you know, this is the first generation that will have a lower standard than their parents. Since, I don't know when, since, you know, they landed on Plymouth Rock, every generation has had a better standard. You know, better housing, better health, this and you know, more money in the bank, buy a home earlier, so many things. This is the first generation that's going to have a lower standard than their parents. America's hit the apex. What does Deva Amrita Maharaj say about the American dream? The American dream used to be, well, I don't want to go too far afield. Let's just say this. What is Deva Amrita Maharaj's line about the American dream? You have to be asleep to believe it. So, but they're thinking, well, you know, just make this little fine-tuning, just make a little adjustment. It's all going to work out. It's foolishness. And death, as Jesus says, death comes like a thief at night. Climbs in your window. You can put those double security locks on. Keep Dr. Scott engaged. Lock up all your gates and doors, and you know, and it'll come right down the chimney. So, what to do? That's the question. Back to Ulysses, because the way, of course, the mythology, but we're going to hopefully spiritualize it. He wanted to hear their singing, but it drives everyone mad. So he had all of his sailors fill their ears with wax, and they had lashed him to the mast. So he couldn't get free. And he told them, whatever I say, whatever I do, don't untie me. And sure enough, they couldn't. The other sailors couldn't hear anything. But when they sailed past the island, he went completely mad. He said, "I'm going to kill you. You know what? You know when I get out of here, you know, if you don't let me loose." And they just shined him on. And once it faded away, he realized. He said, "Oh, jeez, you know, I would have jumped off and crashed in the rocks and been killed." So we need to lash as he was lashed to the mast, lest he be bewildered by the intoxication, forget reality, be seduced by the flattery. We have to lash ourselves to the mast. We can't even see what's on the other side of this wall. Well, as far as I know, Prabhupada said, well, how far do you know? I think. Prabhupada said, as soon as you say I think, stand in the closet. And I've mentioned before, and I'll mention it again. University of Colorado, where they're a little puffed up, and because they think they've got it made in Boulder. Parents send money, free pizza, you know, and they're not at a state college; they're at the university. And I was in a class, and just for fun, I told them, I said, you know what? One guy kept saying, I think. I said, you know what? What I think and what you think and what anybody else in this room thinks doesn't matter. Oh, they were shocked. I was denying their selfhood, you know. Wait, you know, 21 years old. What do you, even at that age, what do you know? But the fact of the matter is, I think we lash ourselves to the mast to become protected from the siren call of the material nature. What is that mast? Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. That's what we make our chart by. That's what we listen to. That's the voice in the head. What does Shastra say? What does my Guru say? What do the Sadhus? What is our Vaishnava tradition? We lash ourselves to the mast of Guru, Shastra, Sadhu, and we will not be seduced by the call of the material nature. And if not, we were just a dancing dog. It's as simple as that. And what is the use of the whole thing? Okay, so I wanted to read Prabhupada's Vrindavan Bhajan, because the point being made here is that, all right, what to do? That ultimately, because there was service, he accepted the Purvachitti, because he was meant to fill up the universe. You know, he took it on for service. So we say Rishikesha, Rishikena, you know, what is it? Uchite, you know, what is the definition of pure devotional service? Sarva, what is it? Yeah, that's it. Sarva Parivinir Bhuktam. And what's the next line? Rishikesha, Rishikena, Sevanam Bhakti Uchite. That this is the definition of bhakti. That you can't deny the senses. We were talking the other day about a snake, put it in a basket, put a lid on it. As soon as you take the lid off, they're going to bite. You know, you're on a desert island, you're a celibate. Well, okay. Well, what happens when you get off the island? We've got people in the ISKCON prison ministry. They're great in prison. They're reading, you know, and there's many great souls who come out of that, so don't get me wrong. I don't mean to generalize, but it's not uncommon that they're chanting 16 rounds, they're following the regular principles, they're reading Bhagavatam. What happens when they get out of jail? Well, you know, zing! I mean, eventually all that bears its fruit, that devotional service. So, what to do with these senses? And I wanted to read, so the separate from the Vaishnav view, the conclusion is just go to a holy place, go to the Himalayas, live in a cave, and perform bhajan. And you find it's not just us, or not just the Vedic pantheon, but you know, you got those Greek monks that go out onto an island in the middle of nowhere. You got there's an island near Fort Ross, Northern California. There's a little island there. You wonder even how they built it. No women were allowed on the island. And they would lower a basket, and you put everything in the basket, and they crank it. And there's still monasteries like that, you know. And they sleep on a a stone shelf, and they wear the camel hair clothes, sackcloth. Sackcloth is like burlap, you know. Can you imagine a pair of burlap copings? Try that on, you know. So, because this world is profane and should be renounced, it doesn't work. So, but their idea, okay, well, I'll just go to Vrindavan, I'll go to a holy tirtha, and I'll just chant, and I'll, you know, deliver myself. So I wanted to read from Prabhupada's Vrindavan Bhajan. This is 1961. Vaishnava, freed from the duality, simply chants japa on his beads, or so say those who are eating the mind's bananas. That's their definition. You just go internally and you relish Radha Krishna Leela, and, you know, and you're just enjoying within your mind. That's the perfection of devotional life. And we lose people. We got devotees go to Vrindavan and you never see them again, or you see them. They got a first sign is they got a long beard, and the next thing, if they don't have a long beard, their clothes are all tattered. At least they've got a couple days gristle because they don't have time to shave, because they're so absorbed in bhajan. And that, you know, anyway, but here's the point I'm trying to make. So that's what Prabhupada's saying here. The Vaishnava is without desire and amicable by nature, but he is not a forceless weakling, as people foolishly think. Because we're talking about activity. Well, activity, you know, it's a cause of bondage. You get entangled. In the two great Indian wars, this is Prabhupada's Vrindavan Bhajan, two great personalities were leaders amongst the Vaishnavas and became victorious. Anyone know what those two great wars were? Wars. You're close. Kurukshetra. Mahabharata. Kurukshetra is one war. What's the other one? Ramayana. And who are the heroes? So from the Ramayana with who is the course, Lord Ram, we know that, but Hanuman. Who said Hanuman? You did? Oh, Hanuman. So, was Hanuman inactive? You look, when they have that picture of Hanuman and he's revealing his heart, and there's Sita Ram in his heart, you know? Prabhupada told the story that, anyway, I don't want to go too far afield. So the point is, the two great heroes of the Ramayana, you have Hanuman, and of Kurukshetra war, you have Arjuna. And were they idle? Were they not willing, oh, I'm not going to get entangled? Prabhupada said the whole point of Bhagavad Gita was Krishna wanted to make Arjuna fight, become active. So that's what Prabhupada's talking here. They did not fight out of a desire for satisfaction of their own senses, and so they are famed throughout the world as Vaishnavas. Those who do not see the real Vaishnava say that a Vaishnava is inactive, but the Vaishnava is always active in the service of the Lord. The lifeless Kanista Adhikaris do not perform any service. For profit, adoration, and prestige, they stay in their lonely place. Nityananda, who is worshipable by the Vaishnavas, you know, the leader of the Vaishnava community, Nityananda. Nityananda Prabhu, who is worshipable by the Vaishnavas, suffered blows and still distributed love of Godhead in every way he could, as you were describing yesterday. The Lord himself, will be done in a second. The Lord himself sets the example in order to teach the jivas. So one who performs nirjana bhajana simply cheats himself. The world has now become full of jagais and madais. That Nityananda Vamsa has increased its followers of disciples. So, okay, fine, Nityananda Vamsa, oh, we're coming in the line from Lord Nityananda. Well, Lord Nityananda saved Jagai and Madai. What are you doing? Prabhupada said there's no shortage of Jagais and Madais. Somebody said, what do you do? Prabhupada said, we have no unemployment problem in ISKCON. Are we running out of conditioned souls? If you deliver all the conditioned souls in this world, what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say to Vasudeva? Fine, you can go to another universe. There's unlimited unity. You deliver this universe, don't worry, you won't be unemployed. So here Prabhupada's chastising, oh, you go to a lonely place and you take pride that you're a Goswami and you're so renounced, but you know, you're Nityananda Vanks, but what are you doing in the mood of Lord Nityananda? How are you going out and delivering the Jagais and Madais? Well, if I go out, I'll get contaminated. Prabhupada nails it at the end. But eating and sleeping, wearing the dress, and remaining so unconcerned, it is not proper for the Vaishnavas to remain so uncompassionate. It's great, isn't it? Oh, because I don't want to be contaminated. I don't want to, you know, I'm not an Indian, whatever it is, you know. Eating, sleeping, and wearing the dress, but remaining so unconcerned. Where is the compassion? That, as Prabhupada says, it is not proper for the Vaishnavas to remain so uncompassionate. And this is the part that's really far up. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur sang the Madhurya Kambandini. Look at his conclusion and see what is his judgment. Now, that Madhurya Kambandini is, it's all about Radha Krishna Leela. And it's all about how one can evolve to all the different higher rasas and ultimately come to the point of conjugal love of Radha and Krishna. It's extremely esoteric. And explaining that, and you have, you know, I mean, that's what you do. You simply meditate on those pastimes and think about Radha and Krishna and conjugal love and how you're going to become a gopi, or that guy who was, you know, one of our former sannyasis, locked in his room at Juhu, wouldn't come out to any of the programs. Giriraj Maharaj finally knocked on the door, opened it up because he had the key. The guy's in his kopans, meow, meow, thinking he's pretending to be a peacock in Radha Krishna Leela, you know, because the peacock is the dancing instructor of Krishna. Forget it. What is the conclusion by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur? You're seeking to become engaged in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Well, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is the conclusion? At the conclusion, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, you take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha. You want Radha and Krishna? Well, here's Radha Krishna right in front of you, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You want to experience Radha Krishna Leela? Well, here's Radha and Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is their activity? Sankirtan. So you want to become purified by being engaged in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. If A equals B and B equals C, A equals C. You want to become absorbed in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna so you can obtain the highest happiness. Here it's saying what Radha and Krishna have combined as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and what is the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Delivering the conditioned souls. So you will not, because the fear is, oh, if I give up Vrindavan and I go out into the world, I'm going to be contaminated. And I'm here because I want to become purified. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, if you go out and serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Sankirtan mission and you're delivering the conditioned souls, you will not be the loser. You're not, oh, this would be the safer path, but I'm feeling some weight and some compassion and some responsibility, therefore I'll go out and do it, although I'm at risk. It's not saying that. You go out on Sankirtan and you serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all Radha Krishna Leela will be revealed in your heart. You'll be completely protected, and you'll be saved, and you'll become purely Krishna conscious. That's the conclusion, not to sit in a bush and try to be a peacock. So, there, I got it off my chest. To conclude, there needs to be, you know, devotees are always looking, not all, there are a number of devotees. It's an infection that weaves its way through occasionally. People read all these Goswami books, but actually everything is in Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada said you read Bhagavad Gita, you read Nectar of Devotion, you read Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm not saying don't read books. I mean, don't get me wrong. But don't think our core diet. Can you live on gulab jamuns? Although some people try. You know, our diet should be Prabhupada's books. And not because we're going to become sahajiyas, but because if we don't, we've got to. If we read the Goswami's books, I'm not on that level. I'm going to become sahajiya. That's a risk. But the other reason is, Prabhupada has taken all of the Goswami literature. I don't take up the time. All of the literature, all of the Goswami's books, just like it's the conclusion of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's books, is right here in Prabhupada's Vrindavan Bhajan. If we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, I mean, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I mean, it's Radha and Krishna conjugal love. It's all in there, but it's perfectly presented for us. Prabhupada gives the example. You go to a doctor. There's so many medicines in the pharmacy. Well, that one looks good. Oh, I like that color. I'll try that one. But you've got to take the medicine according to the prescription. And who gives that prescription? The expert doctor. So we're not the loser if we stay within the four square, corners of Srila Prabhupada's books. Rather, we will perfectly come to the highest level. Rabindra Swarup Prabhu said one time, hey, only Prabhupada spent time in Times Square, New York. I mean, in other words, Prabhupada knows the Western mentality. He knows our attachments. He knows our conditioning. He knows our strong points. And Prabhupada meditated long, hard, and deeply and presented all of the literature of the Goswamis in just the right way for us to catch the point. So that I wanted to say. The other thing I wanted to say is there needs to be a sense of urgency. We don't just take care of ourselves. As it's describing here, I'm going off to my Nirjana Bhajana, all by myself, and I'm going to save myself. That's one of the symptoms of a devotee is he doesn't waste time, Rupa Goswami says. And if you're in a war, you don't waste time. And we are in a war against samsara, and it is creaming people to the left and to the right. Downtown San Diego, what to do? They spent, I don't know how, it was $400 million or something, that the total renovation of downtown, Horton Plaza, the whole thing. We'll end here, but don't worry. But the problem was that they cleared out downtown, spent all this money, renovated it, made so many pedestrian walkways, and fancy restaurants. They subsidized so many businesses so they get classy shops in there. Completely rented. It was a dive. It was a complete dive before. Tattoo shops and, you know, Navy. It was a place for the red light district for the Navy. But there was a problem, that the homeless were still there. So you want to get people to come and, you know, spend their $100 per, you know, that doesn't include wine and a dessert on their bones and feathers. And what does mean if you get a cigar afterwards? So, and think you're rich, powerful, and happy. But the homeless were still there. So it spoiled the whole Ras. You know, you got somebody dropping dead on your front door, you know, pressing their nose against the window while you're tucking into your duck pate or whatever it is. So what was their answer? Got a blue ribbon commission. Urban planners from around the world studied the thing. And you know what their conclusion was? How to deal with the problem of the homeless spoiling the vibe? You paint the windows. Well, they put up curtains. That's what they did. They put up curtains. That was their recommendation. If you don't see it. But how a Vaishnava, we're not, oh, I don't want to get my mind agitated. I'll conclude. If we go out on the Sankirtan mission, if we have that sense of urgency and compassion, and we're not, oh, I want to be comfortable, we will get by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Radha Krishna combined, we will come to the highest level in the fastest possible way. So that's how to avoid the siren call and what to do with the senses. Okay, we can end there. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are you ready to go, Tapas? We got to record those two things.